Yet not everyone approved. The High Council viewed my closeness with the princess as a threat. "You are an outsider," one elder hissed during a council session. "You interfere with matters beyond your understanding. Your presence endangers the balance of Althara." I had anticipated resistance, but nothing could have prepared me for the political storm that erupted. The council demanded that I leave, that the princess be shielded from further human influence. Amaris, however, had made her choice. The day the council confronted her, she stood before them, the globe of earth in her hands. Her voice, calm yet unyielding, filled the chamber. "This gift," she said, "may be small, yet it carries intention, care, and honesty. It shows me a world beyond power, beyond conquest. It shows me connection. And if my choice is to connect, I choose it." The council erupted in fury, but Amaris' resolve was absolute. For the first time in Altharian history, a princess had openly defied the elders, choosing friendship and understanding over tradition and hierarchy. Days later, in a private moment, she confided in me the truth behind her reaction. "All my life, I've been surrounded by opulence and expectation. I have seen worlds through maps, through data, through strategies of war. But I had never been given a glimpse of a world that exists simply to be loved, simply to be known." Her hand brushed mine, the warmth of her touch more powerful than any energy weapon I had faced. "You showed me that, and it changed everything." I laughed softly, a sound mingled with relief and disbelief. And to think I was worried it was too simple, too insignificant. "Simple?" she whispered, her eyes glowing with an intensity one could hardly bear. "No, it was perfect." The weeks that followed were transformative. The High Council, though reluctantly, began to reconsider its stance toward humanity. Diplomatic doors opened, and trade agreements, cultural exchanges, and joint explorations of the stars were discussed. But more than that, Amaris and I forged a personal bond that neither politics nor protocol could sever. We were allies, yes, but also confidants, two beings from distant worlds finding common ground in empathy and curiosity. One evening, as we watched Althara's twin moons rise over the crystalline forests, she handed the globe back to me. "Keep this," she said. "It is more than a gift. It is a reminder of what we can accomplish when we act from the heart." I held it carefully, feeling the weight of worlds in my hands. "I will," I promised. And I meant it, not just for the sake of diplomacy, but for the bond we had forged, a bond that had begun with something as simple as a small globe. In the end, it was never about grandeur or power. It was about connection, empathy, and the courage to see another being, not as a subject, not as an enemy, but as someone worthy of understanding. One simple gift had opened the door to an alliance, a friendship, and perhaps even love, in ways I could never have anticipated. And Princess Amaris? She became more than a ruler to me. She became a reminder that the simplest gestures, when offered sincerely, can echo across galaxies, changing hearts, minds, and even the fate of worlds. I left Althara months later, the globe safely in my possession, a small but potent symbol of everything that had transpired. And as my ship rose into the stars, I knew that no matter how far I traveled or how many worlds I would see, the memory of her reaction and the bond it had created would forever remain among the most extraordinary moments of my life. I never thought a single gesture could change the course of an entire planet's history. Yet there I was, standing in the heart of the Altharian palace, holding a simple gift in my hands and wondering if it would even matter to her. The Altharians were a proud species, towering beings with iridescent skin that shimmered like liquid metal under the palace lights. Their eyes, deep violet orbs, seemed to peer into your very soul. And the Princess Amaris was no ordinary royal. Her presence radiated authority, but behind her regal composure, I had glimpsed flashes of loneliness, a quiet yearning that no one dared acknowledge. I had arrived on Althara not as a diplomat, nor as a soldier, but as a messenger. My mission was simple: deliver a peace offering from Earth to the Altharian High Council. But after weeks among their people, witnessing their rituals and struggles, I realized that my official duty barely scratched the surface of what truly mattered. And when I met Princess Amaris, it became painfully clear this encounter would be more personal than political. The gift I held was nothing more than a small, handcrafted globe of Earth. It was far from valuable in any monetary sense. In fact, it was a childlike object, no larger than my palm, painted with oceans and continents in vibrant colors. But it had a story. Each tiny mountain and river was sculpted by hand, each painted detail a labor of love meant to convey the beauty of my homeworld. I thought perhaps the simplicity of it might resonate with her. After all, she had spent her entire life surrounded by the grandeur of a civilization older and more powerful than humanity could ever imagine. The palace corridors were silent, the only sound the faint hum of energy coursing through the walls. Servants and guards gave us wide berth as we approached the throne chamber. The doors, massive and forged from Althara's legendary crystalline metal, opened with a soundless whisper. There she sat, Amaris, in her ceremonial robes, a flowing cascade of silver and violet that made her appear almost ethereal. Her gaze met mine as I stepped forward, and in that instant, I felt an electric connection, a recognition that words could never capture. "I bring you a gift," I said, my voice steady despite the storm of nerves within me. I extended my hands, offering the globe. Amaris' eyes narrowed slightly, a gesture that might have been suspicion or curiosity. For a moment, nothing happened. I feared I had misjudged her entirely. Perhaps she would see it as a trivial token, an insult to her status. But then, something unexpected occurred. Her hand, delicate yet strong, rose from her lap and hovered over the globe. Her fingers brushed it lightly, and I swear the colors of Earth shimmered in response, reflecting in her eyes. "This," she murmured, her voice a melodic resonance that seemed to vibrate with the room itself, "is intricate, delicate, yet alive." I nodded, trying to contain my surprise. "I wanted to show you my world, not just as a planet, but as something personal. Every detail was made by someone who cares about it deeply." She studied the globe, turning it slowly in her hands. Then, without warning, her entire form shimmered, a soft glow emanating from her skin. It wasn't threatening, nor was it the display of power I had been warned to fear. It was pure, unguarded emotion. The air seemed to shift, as though the room itself recognized what was happening. "I have seen many gifts," she said, her voice now trembling slightly. Rare metals, precious stones, technologies that could rewrite the fabric of reality, yet none have moved me like this. Her eyes met mine, and for the first time, I saw vulnerability in the princess. You have given me a world. The weight of her words hit me. A simple gift, small and seemingly insignificant, had pierced the layers of royalty and expectation, reaching the core of her being. Over the next few days, Amaris summoned me repeatedly. Each time, we would speak, not of politics or treaties, but of Earth, its landscapes, its creatures, the feel of rain on bare skin, the taste of sun-ripened fruit. She listened as though I were recounting ancient poetry, each detail sparking something in her that I could not name. In turn, she shared stories of Althara, of stars and seas no human I had ever witnessed, of forests that glowed with bioluminescent life and rivers that sang when the wind passed over them. Through these conversations, we discovered an unspoken bond, a bridge of empathy that transcended species and history.